Okay, welcome. So the first welcome message and opening of this workshop is going to be given by Michael Sterzik, head of the ISO Data Management and Operations Division, which is hosting the archive, the user support, and general support for the La Silla Paranal Observatory.
Thanks, Marina, and thanks everyone for coming. So I was just joking. So this is quite a full house. It's not completely full house, but we have a great attendance, I think. Some internally at ISO argued, oh, this may not be interesting for our users, but I can see and I know as you took an effort to come here, this is of interest to you, and it should be of interest to you. And it's also to interest of us, to ISO, to proliferate our knowledge and to act as an interface. And this is actually what we are trying to do here. I think in this workshop, we are trying to act as an interface to the observatory, in particular to the Paranal Observatory, for you, the users, to help you, to support you, to make the best out of this amazing and wonderful observatory. I was just coming back from Chile, from Paranal. Who of you has been in Paranal already? Some, but not so many. So for the rest, I think it remains a great, I think, goal to go there. It is really amazing. So what you see here is our crown jewel on the top of this mountainhead in Paranal, and this is mostly where this workshop is about. But we have more. Okay, so this is Paranal that you see in the center, this Paranal side with the VLT, with the auxiliary telescopes, with the interferometer. This is where mainly the workshop is about. Here some of you may recognize La Silla, also a collection of 2 to 4 meter telescopes that we are using for specific purposes, and you may also access. But you see more here in this collage of powerful telescopes that ISO is building and operating, because that's the mission of ISO, to build and operate world-class observing facilities. Some of you may recognize ALMA in the Chakrantor plane and APEX, which is also a part of the observatory. And some of you will also see, not to scale, this will be the 40-meter ELT, right? That ELT is now constructing just in the line of sight. Just you see it from this mountain to that mountain. So this will be a huge structure, a huge telescope ready in 2024, 25, and I think you all, if I look at you, will be able to use that, and you will make use of that. And here you see the CTA array, the Cherenkov telescope array. It's a gamma ray, a sensitive telescope array, which will also be built close to Paranal Armazones in the valley, and which will also broaden the wavelength range of the facilities that ISO is offering. So these are extremely powerful telescopes that you already have access to, or you will have access to. And of course, it's not just the telescopes, it's also the instrumentation suite. Now, if we concentrate on the VLT side, on the VLT, so some of you may recognize actually some of the instruments. So each VLT has 3 foci, so can host 3 instruments, which can be quickly accessed. So where programs can be executed according to the scientific needs. So in UT1 you have 3, in UT2, in UT3 we have 3 instruments, UT4 there are 3 instruments, then there are survey telescopes and the interferometric instruments, and a bunch of instruments that will be introduced in this workshop. New instruments that are just starting up, like Espresso, the AOF facility, and which offer exciting possibilities. And yes, these are extremely powerful facilities that you, the community, is able to access and to use in the best way. Now, this is a diagram which is a little abstract, and you would say, what is he talking about in this abstract way? But it exemplifies our operational model it shows our operational model how to actually cope with this diversity of facilities and diversity of instruments and still offer sort of a look and feel to the user and to us operators that is commensurate, that is homogeneous in a certain sense. So we have a homogeneous set of proposal preparation tools. We need to, of course, then prepare the observations in more detail. Execute observations at the telescope. That's where the telescope stands, right? We do quality control loop, reduction loops, archive loops, and hopefully gain knowledge out of this process, right? So this is maybe not a circle or an egg, but a spiral, which then improves this knowledge that we gained in the next round of proposals. But in the center of this is you. It's a user community, okay, who interacts with the system in many ways. And this can be complicated. And we know this, and you may have experienced this if you have not experienced it, because I mean, this abstract layer is actually filled with interfaces, put it this way, software interfaces, also human interfaces. And here, our ESO colleagues, we are our human interface. So, but from the software ranging side, so you may recognize a LaTeX interface where you submit a proposal. Internally, we have a scheduling tool or an allocation tool. We have an observing preparation tool. We send this to the observatory. There they do the sophisticated ranking and execution. There are quality control schemes there. You may recognize Reflex, the archive interface, the telescope, bibliographic library interface, and so on. And again, at the center of this, it's your interface. It's a user portal where you as a user have access to this variety of information, hopefully in a logical and homogeneous way. So I'm almost to conclude here, but just also a little bit to remind us and you are a large and active science community. In other words, we cater for a large and active science community. What you see here is the number of PIs, of principal investigators, of observing programs, of successful observing programs per period. And this is, I think, from 1998 or so when the VLT started. So this was a ramp up in service mode and in visitor mode. So we have around 200 to 250 service mode PIs and around 50 to 100 visitor mode PIs at every period, every 6 months, are being successful and are supported through the system. Maybe also very interesting is to note that this user base is not static. So every year, every half a year, there are new users, new PIs, new successful principal investigators coming in the system. So on average, around 100 programs or PIs per period. And I guess you are some of those. You are recent users of the system or potential users of the system who want to understand and make best use of this system. And this is why we are here. And this is why I think there is always a need for this type of interaction, that we try to present the system to you and you try to make the best out of it. And what do you do out of it? Well, you write papers, and you write a lot of papers. You make a lot of use of our system. Okay, so this is the graph of the publications using ESO data, also starting in, I think, 1996. So this is pre-VLT time. VLT set in 1998, and you see with the different colors, these are LaCIA-based, the greens ones are LaCIA-based publications, while the VLT publications then take over. I mean, as you see, steep increase in 2004, and the total number of these publications based on ESO facility is now steadily over 1,000 per year. Okay, so and if you map it to the number of programs or PIs, you will immediately see, so 400 per semester, 800 programs per year. So approximately each of the ESO observing programs on average produces one publication. This is what it says on the VLT, in LaCIA, but now also ramping up the survey telescopes, APEX, of course, and ALMA now in the last years. So this is a very productive observatory, and we're not comparing it to others, but I can tell you we are doing very well compared to others. And maybe also one aspect I would at least like to point out to you, and this will be coming probably in these 2 or 3 days recurrently, that we use also the Science Archive as a scientific resource. Now, if you scale the number of papers to 100, say 100%, these 200, 500, 1,000 papers per year, and you just look at the fraction, which of these papers do use Science Archive products. So these are products that do not directly stem directly from the observation you had proposed, but from something different, from the archive products. Then you see that this fraction is increasing, and we are now at 20, 25%. So the Science Archive itself is an important and interesting scientific resource. You will hear more about it, but I may just highlight this. So we have an archive interface to these data. And very soon, I think in April, we will release a new interface that will blow your mind, and you will have a preview here. So enjoy that. You will have a very easy access to this treasure of data that will more and more enhance your scientific work. And with that having said, I wish you all wonderful 3 days. Learn a lot. I hope we learn a lot as ESO, because this should be a dialogue, and have fun. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Okay.
I will.
No, it's okay. I will keep this one. I prefer to keep this microphone. So my name is Marina Rekuba. Many of you have been in contact with either with me or with Henri Boffin sitting here. We are the culprits for organizing this. And if something doesn't work well, that's our fault. My fault. Henri is married when things work. And I will give you just a few logistic details before we actually start with the full program.